as I saw the puppy slinking into the porch. I got so mad I fired one kick behind it. The audacity of the mingy mutt to brazenly walk into my home as though he owned it. In my anger, I miscalculated. My foot connected with one of the newly purchased steel chairs decorating the veranda instead of the pup, and I sprained my toe. The stupid dog scampered outside, sat by its mother, who surfaced on hearing its high-pitched whine, and looked at me with large, accusing, doleful eyes. I glared angrily at it. It was 2 a.m. Why couldn't it settle down and sleep like everyone else? There had been 6 of them. 5 died. Not that we cared anyway. What would a person do with 6 dogs? And not just dogs, but pottongs. And not just pottong, but skinny, meager, mangled, undernourished pottongs. They made lots of noises and chewed up everything inside, including slippers and mats that were left on the porch or in the yard. They even managed to get inside the house whenever they were ready to filth. It seemed they preferred the smooth tiles and carpets to the hard concrete yard. Religiously we attempted to keep all doors closed, but sometimes multitasking, or haste, or both, caused us to err, and as a consequence, we paid the price. We suspected that the neighbors poisoned the siblings of the last surviving pup, and silently praised the act. The neighbors had endured the same afflictions we did at the butts and mouths of the puppies. As the lancing in my toe started, a corresponding pain in my head began. The angry command floated uninterrupted and obstacle-free in the silence of the night. "You dotish child, come here." I barely heard the expletive. A wounded scream emanated from the house next door. It was the scream of a child no older than 6. The thud of a wooden object hitting an equally wooden floor permeated. Seconds before, I heard the shuffling of feet and the slamming of a door. Muffled whimpers floated through the decorative concrete blocks that lined the top of the unpainted brick house. The proximity of our homes facilitated the unwarranted sharing of conversations and sounds, but little else. Largely, we kept to ourselves. The dog did not bark. It began licking its infant with soft caresses, oblivious to what was happening around it. Stupid dog, I thought. I must get rid of it. It does nothing around here. Makes no furrow, runs no potential criminals, just breeds with the first available stray and churns out unwanted puppies. The puppy whined as the mother suddenly bit it. Where was the other dog? You heard that just now? He at it again. Where the mother? She always away when these things happening. Or is she just turning a blind eye? My sister was now standing beside me in the veranda. I don't care what anybody says. We should call the authorities. Is every night this going on? At first it was sporadic, but now it's regular. Something is just not right across there. We have no proof? Quietly. I looked at the dog and its pup absently and wondered at the 2 of them a few months from today, mating and carrying on a progeny, forgetting that they were mother and son, or father and daughter, or whatever. The big daughter pregnant, you know that? No, I saw her yesterday and her stomach was flat, I rebutted. Well, he probably had her get rid of it. I mean, that sort of thing was sure to bring scandal and evidence. You saw her stomach? Can you say there was actually a protrusion? Certain fashions cause a woman to appear pregnant, you know that, don't you? I don't have to see a woman's belly to know she is with child. She was exuding it, Christine, as sure as the lady of the night flower emits an odor. As I turned to go to my bed, I glimpsed to the dog walking away and leaving its pup shivering in the night dew. The house next door was eerily silent. What a cold world we living in, I thought tiredly. As I drove to work the following day, I reflected on how serene the child had looked when I passed her sitting in her veranda. Her father had waved me a bright good morning. No truth in that rumor, I thought, speeding out the driveway onto the road. The fact that I was late registering forcefully my toe trub, this stupid dog. I saw the crowd before I saw the cars, the bodies, and the blood sprawled across the highway. A mangled piece of metal bore testament to the horrific accident that had taken place. Equally mangled bodies lay on the ground, blood splashed like unsightly graffiti disguising their identities and communicating a ghastly message. Limbs were twisted at abnormal angles like a child's toy twisted out of form. But this was no child's play. "Right off," I heard a passerby mumble as the traffic forced me to slow. "We need a car, flag down a car, we gotta get him to the hospital quick." "But aren't they already dead?" "They have not been officially pronounced dead, no DMO is on the site to determine that." The excited outbursts of onlookers and passers-by floated through my partially closed window. What a terrible time for my air condition to malfunction. I didn't want to hear their conversation. I didn't want to know their need. I could not help. I did not want to stop. I willed the car in front of me to go faster, for I was now almost parallel with the bodies. What if they were to stop me? Blood on my new seat covers? HIV AIDS? My skin suddenly started itching, and looking down nervously at my fingers, now trembling on the steering wheel, I glimpsed the time on my watch, 8:28 a.m. I was late. Horribly late. I needed to maintain my almost perfect attendance record at any cost. The traffic eased and the car in front of me drove away. I followed swiftly. In my rearview mirror, I saw the curious spectators flag down car after car, but to no avail. None stopped. This was such a cold, unfeeling world. No one seemed interested in stopping to offer help. The throbbing in my toe returned as I kept my foot pressed down on the accelerator. Stupid dog. 3. As I saw them on my lunch break, my mongrels came immediately to mind. 6 children were sitting on a bench around their poverty-stricken mother in the main square in the capital city. Their tattered clothes told the tale of their living conditions. 7 rolled-up boxes littered the walkway. Garbage containers by day, beds by night. Black nails decorated skinny fingers that were stretched out to me, revealing grimy palms. "Why the authorities don't do something about this situation?" I asked my friend angrily. "Look at them." As I spoke, a stray dog came up to one of the kids and licked her arm sympathetically. The child screamed in fright and bolted off the bench right onto my injured toe. I whined painfully and thrust her off me. The child fell onto the ground. The dog moved to stand over her and looked up at me with accusing, large, doleful eyes. "Why don't they get rid of those trees?" I grumbled. "You are cold." My friend looked at me as though seeing me for the first time. "My dog caused me to sprain my toe last night." I tried to explain my plight, I myself confused. "Was it the dogs or the kids you were referring to when you spoke about the trees?" My friend seemed not to care that my toe was throbbing. The woman also stretched out her hand as we passed by. My friend handed her a $20 note, so I gave her $1, even as I muttered to my friend, "Young, strong woman like that, look at her. Why doesn't she apply to the community enhancement program for a job? There are so many things she can do to earn a living, instead of sitting here shamelessly begging. I tell you, you don't know how to trust these days, no?" I continued, grumbling as a bright smile decorated with darkened teeth rewarded us for our contribution. Coke addicts are using any ploy to get money for a fix. Even their own children. Did I tell you about the man who drugged his child, threw him over the shoulder, and walked the streets with that 7-year-old child, playing on good people's sympathy to get money? It's only because you are here that I give her $1, you know. Trust me when I tell you that some of these beggars have more money than us hard-working folks. My friend was silent for a while as we continued strolling. When we left the square and were safely on the other side of the road, I barely heard her as she muttered under her breath, "What a cold, unfeeling world we're living in." 4. Something is wrong here. Why do I get the feeling that the perimeter of the world is narrowing? Why am I suddenly so uneasy? 5. When we returned home later in the afternoon, the pup was dead. Good, I told my sister. Should we bury it or cremate it? The authorities came for Mr. Jones. Turns out the rumors were true. They wanted to know why we took so long before notifying them. You mean you call? I looked at her incredulously, not sure whether to laugh or cry. I saw the young one crying on my way to work. She was smiling when I saw her, I countered. You must be mistaken. She hasn't smiled in a long time, Christine. Oh, burying the dog, flippantly I turned away from her conversation. And all the while you wanted evidence? We heard the evidence every night. I'm glad I'm seeing the last of these dogs. No more noises when the night comes, I continued. I wonder why the mother never took any action. She sat quietly and allowed it to happen, just to ensure she had a roof over her head. She claimed she had nowhere to go if he got angry when she shared her dilemma and put her out. So she never said anything to anyone. Imagine a man doing that to his own flesh and blood. The father is in police custody. I hope they lock him away where the sun do shine and he gets a taste of his own medicine. Now the mother has ingested poison as though that would help. Your mother to go next, puppy. She sits here and does nothing. No barks, no furrow to dissuade potential criminal. Only eating, eating, eating. What good is a dog that does nothing? I hope they never poison her too, I continued. Christine, are you listening to me at all? I said I got the authorities to give me temporary custody of the kid. I turned on my sister. You what? Are you crazy? An abused child? You are not a psychiatrist, girl. And if the child gets attached to you, she won't want to go back home. And if her mother recovers, or her father comes out of jail, or her sister wants her, doesn't she have a grandmother, an aunt, an uncle? Why do you... The wounded cry was heard from somewhere close by, and I jumped away from the dead dog in alarm. My sister noted my unnecessary agitation. Dead things don't need attention, Christine. It's the living ones that do. I saw a wounded creature, its arms linked tightly around my sister's neck. As I looked into her eyes, the scenes of the day flashed vividly before me. My sister held the child closely and looked accusingly at me. Was the world really that cold after all? My eyes remained transfixed on her retreating back as she walked away from me. I stood woodenly over the dog. Must get rid of it quick before it get cold. As I bent to retrieve the shovel, my legs made contact with the carcass and I recoiled repulsively. The dog was already cold. I pressed my palms against my cheek and found that I was cold too.